So hi everyone, my name is Gustavo and now it's starting Startup Life episode, your podcast about business, technology and innovation. And today I'm quite proud to announce the Global Insights and Innovation Manager for e-commerce at HP, Elisabeth Morentin.
Yes.
Is it right, your surname?
Yeah. You said it right.
Cool.
Everywhere will I get it, yes.
So thank you so much for being here with us today. To start, can you tell us a little bit about your role today and your previous journey and your career?
Okay, right now I'm in the, as you said, is the customer shopper insights lead for e-commerce global, and basically is to understand the behavior of the consumers in order to provide a better shopping experience and to help them to choose what they want, what they don't want, and meaning combining with a lot of the different data sets to provide recommendation to the product designers and to make something that will be impactful.
Nice, very nice. How do you bring qualitative research into a culture focused on data, testing, and performance?
Okay. I will say you need to be friends with the ones that are experts on big data in terms of quantitative data. Because the first thing is you need to see the value of quality. Quality will not substitute quantity, but it will help you understand the why of the quantity. And in our all that the democracy of the information on the data, sometimes we're missing that human aspect that is the quality. Okay, but it will not substitute. Meaning the first thing is you say, hey, we're not here a threat. We need this. We need to work on a tandem approach. Yep. You tell me where the problem are, the frictions or the moments, and I will tell you the why from a quality perspective. And in the beginning, you need to be clear that you will not replace or may replace the seed to somewhere, because we all have, you will protect the work that we're doing, but you need to be very clear and transparent. And hey, you know what? Let's collaborate. And in the beginning, it was a challenge because it's difficult to frame impact with quality. And with quantity, it's easier, But with quality, it's people in industry that they're used to like big set of data. I'm telling you, I'm going to interview 15 people, and I'm going to be able to see the patterns if I have a very good recruitment, like demographics and country-wise, and because we're going to see the patterns already to understand the why. It's hard. They were like, what do you mean? 10 people? I was like, yes. If you do a good recruitment and you frame the research correctly, you don't need more people. We're very similar.
Yeah.
But they need to see the impact.
Of course.
And that was the challenge.
And how do you do that in such a huge company as the companies you've been working for the last couple of years? How do you do that in a global scale?
Well, I've been working in 3 different industries doing the same. Fast-moving consumer goods, health, and now in technology. Well, you can apply the same framework and the same rules for the same industries. No, because sometimes you are close to the revenue of the business side, and sometimes you're very far away. It all depends of the velocity of the industry. On healthcare, to see that the impact, it takes longer because as soon as you have an idea or you have any solution, the moment that it's going to implement it can be 2-3 years, and with all the legal and all it's long. The life cycle of it's long, and then you get the impact, and in those big corporates, the impact is about business.
Yeah,
it's the revenue, direct or indirect revenue. It's not about customer satisfaction, net profit. It's about
it's not a recipe. It's not a recipe. It's like you can apply the same recipe to each and every company.
No. It is something that you need to. The recipe is the only one. Provide trust and transparency.
Cool.
Okay, that's a recipe.
Yeah.
There is a cross, and to explain, like I said before, you're not here to substitute. You are here to provide data that will complement. It will be like complementary to the data that you provided, understanding the why, to improve the experience or the product performance. That's a recipe across the industries. Then it depends on the velocity of the industry and how far away you are from the moment that you conduct the research and you get that data to the moment that it's launched the product, in order to get the impact, direct or indirect, which is the revenue. There's the return of how much you make.
Yeah.
With that, that's simple way to say it. It depends. Like I say, that needs to be custom.
Nice.
In each case. I can explain you a little bit more about where I'm right now, meaning it's because e-commerce, the life cycle of an experience of e-commerce is the velocity is like compared to the healthcare industry is amazing. The way that we capture the data, I will say more or less the same. It's just you plan the interviews. In that case, e-commerce, I rather prefer to do unmoderated interviews because you're not in the context. You don't know where is the person that's going to be, you providing a task. You want that person to be completely they need to forget that you're recording them, and then it's what they say sometimes is not what they do. But if they don't get the pressure that somebody's there interviewing and you need to please the person who's interviewing you, then they say things, they do things, and you can watch them, and then it's amazing. After like 30-40 seconds that they're doing the task, they totally completely forgot that they have been recorded. And that's super qualitative data.
Of course.
But in that case, the impact is closer because what we do, it's quick. We provide information on our UX researchers, UX designers, product designers.
Yeah.
And then we provide not the research and the insights, we provide the recommendations. We transform insight in actionable recommendations. That's another thing that that is across industry, meaning not provide a report. We learn about that. People, they want simpler, one click, two clicks. Okay, what simplicity means in that specific context, and what simplicity can be converted in an actionable, actionable action that the designers, they can use it. Okay, that's another thing that this is across industries. But coming back to what the impact, the life cycle impact, in that case is shorter because then we provide a new experience, we launch, and you right away see the revenue. If it has been, you track 2 or 3 months before having that new experience, and now with that new experience, and you can see right away the revenue.
Perfect. Yeah, amazing. In e-commerce, customers can become just numbers on a dashboard. How do you keep the human side visible inside the company?
Oh, that's a good question. And it's not only e-commerce. It's across industry.
Yeah.
You want to show the reels. You want a presentation without reels, without the people that you interview, without them talking. It's another presentation with numbers and graphics, and that's it. You need to humanize your presentations, and that's a huge difference. If you present to the audience like shorts of the reels of how we make the recommendations, and based of that, everybody will trust you, because it's not like data that you ask to any kind of platform and look at, no, because they see that you did the work.
It must be a hard task because you work in like huge companies. So probably during your activities you find barriers inside your company because you need to bring the human side of the research you do, and in the other way, and other departments of the companies, they are just seeking for recipe, more customers, more products. And how can you navigate in these opposite directions?
Well, actually, I've never felt any kind of barriers or blocks on that matter, because if humanize the data, we are humans, okay?
At the end of the day, we are.
Yeah, we're all humans. Meaning, and you need.
Yeah.
I know now it's a trend. It says storytelling, which is vinyages that you need to do a storytelling.
Yeah.
But it's as simple as show. You need to show. You need to show the reality. You need to show. Okay, this data. But we got that data from. You need to provide the source of the data.
Okay.
Even then the audience or the stakeholders who are receiving that data, even they like it or they don't like it, because that will impact on some of the decisions that have been made. Well, I'm here for that. I'm here to provide you no bias data and clear data, meaning. Well, nobody will stop you that. And if they do, goodbye, because it's not in my values and the way that I've never had any kind of, even if they use it or not later on, that's one of the things that you need to evangelize. It's like better if you use it, better if it's not. This is what the consumers. But don't forget that we create a solution that will fulfill the needs or the expectations of the users. Either they're consumers or patients or doctors. No, because the companies are not a non-profit organizations, okay? And you have the business side, what you can and you cannot, in order to provide more or less value. But my role in all those organizations that I have been the opportunity to work, meaning I'm just here to the voice of the end user or not the end user sometimes, but the customers or the consumers. I'm here to tell you. Then you decide from the business side what is profitable, what is not profitable, what is viable, what is not viable. But I'm here to tell you the desirable of the consumers and help you as well if the technology, okay, if we can make it or not can make it, and the adaptation of the new technology from the customer and consumer perspective. That I've never had serious, just transparency.
That's a very good thing to hear, because when we try to summarize the human side of data analyzing, sometimes you can find some barriers. I don't think barriers is the right word, but because today, we have a lot of data to analyze, and sometimes it's very, very hard. I imagine for you, it should be very, very hard to perform better in the analyzing data using the human side of the activities itself.
Well, we are in the moment that we are paralysis of the analysis, meaning it's analysis. No. Just meaning, let's go back to basics. Okay, first, you need to know is your resources, the time, and the scope of work that you need to deliver, and then what all that analysis will provide you, and the impact. That's the first thing. Before to analyze any data and to find out what set of data and where the data comes from, you need to understand what is the purpose, the outcome that is expected with that information, which we call it's strategic planning. Okay? As soon as you have that, and then you start analyze okay, this is the outcome that there has been expected. With those 2 or 3 different sets of data, we can start and generate recommendations in order to go and do a proof of concept. Yeah. Start small, but with the vision of scalability. And then the planning for me is the more important part. And then you have the different set of data that will provide you that information. Start small, and then if that works, and then you scale it globally, regions and everything with some customization. But I don't know if I answered your question, but maybe I pivot because there's too many things. But it's just planning first, learning the expectations and the outcomes that the rest of the company or the division that is expecting, then go back and see the different set of data that you think that going to provide that information with a scalability vision. That's it.
Perfect. Have you ever faced a situation where the data pointed one way, but qualitative research point another way?
Yes.
How did you handle it?
Well, like I said before, transparency.
Transparency.
Meaning this is meaning the quantitative data. It's one thing that we need to be aware. When that happened, I ask, okay, how you get that data? The first thing we need to make sure that it's not biased. I can assure you one of the things that my team, and I can assure you, because it's one of my big, it's not that nice, is to make sure that we do not have any bias when we collect the data.
How do you do that?
Well, meaning basically the first thing is like we do not one person, we all tandem with people. You cannot conduct one research that is going to handle from one person, no. And with cross-disciplinary teams. Because then they have different point of views. And that for sure that the question you're going to ask, probably it is not going to have bias, because before to launch any research, everybody needs to have, we do a sanity check from a different point of different stakeholders, that maybe they're not going to be the ones analyzing the data, but they need to all sign that the planning of what we're going to, the script and everything. That avoids bias. We never have one research with one person.
What are the harms that can become from a research with bias? What's the danger about it?
With bias?
Yeah.
Well, the dangers, and then that you come at launching you want to launch something on the market that maybe we will not achieve the impact that it will achieve it without the bias. Meaning, if you have, the way is like maybe no, maybe yes. It all depends. Because sometimes we create needs to our consumers that they didn't even know that they had that need. And that bias, it helps on that. Like many years ago when I just started because I was an industrial designer, mm-hmm. and the reason why I went to the other side of it's that like I wanted to know who create the design brief. And sometimes creating those design briefs that needs to something launch because you need to have more products, and next year another set of products, and next year another set of products in order to be more attractive and different in the market. But as an industrial designer, I was like, they don't need more things like that. Mm-hmm. They don't need any kind of those products. And then that's why I was like, okay, I wanted to know who create the design brief. And that was for me like understanding learning more about the research and qualitative and all that. I don't know if I answered your question or also I pivot again.
No, I think it's very interesting because we have listeners that they already have like big companies, small companies, and I think all of them can learn with your knowledge. And bias it's something, in my vision, I can be wrong, please correct me if I'm wrong, that it's part of the human being. Like you being biased when you're asking a question about a product, a service or something like that, you as a company, you have your concepts, you have your convictions. And sometimes you can be wrong.
Well, that is, I understand your point, and I understand that happened. That's why I said, cross-disciplinary teams, which everybody says, but sometimes due to the velocity of the need of the market, the people, and then also the resources and the budgets, and sometimes you don't have that many people that can be on the same research. Meaning sometimes you cannot avoid bias. If you can avoid bias, you need to be aware that you're doing bias.
Be conscious about it.
Be conscious about it. With some people that does bias, they are not conscious, but at least just come on, do a sanity check.
They deny
it. Well, it gets a point that you play the game.
Yeah.
Then if the results are not as expected,
of course,
you need to kind of review have you done and maybe do it different.
And when you are in a big company, not being conscious about that can be like a huge mistake, right?
Oh yeah. And then now with all the new LMs and all the new all the new AI, they're open sourcing a lot of bias.
Of course.
A lot, and people just go there like it's freedom. You go and you ask to ChatGPT or Genesis or like that, and the data get in, data get in, and data gets out. Meaning if you put bias in the data in, you're gonna get bias in data out.
You won't have a different output. Like if you put bias in, it's going to be bias
of course.
out. Yeah.
That's what, meaning we know about the health industry, it has been all over the place. Meaning all the clinical trials for many years and years has been only on male subjects. Okay, you get in all those clinical trials. You ask to any of those LLM to consult, the research or find different. You just put all those papers in, and what do you expect that you're gonna get out? All the same, organized, classified, and the way that you want to look at it, and it's it's the velocity right now, it's super fast. It's data in, data out.
Of course. And talking about your role as a manager, how hard is to conduct a research, for example, with different areas?
Geographically, you mean?
Yeah.
No, it's not that complex.
It's not?
No, it's not complex. To be honest, for me as a manager, the big challenge in our days is talent retention. No. Because there's a huge generational gap.
Really?
Between my generation, the way that everybody wants to work in big corporates and everything.
And stay like for 10, 20 years.
And the longer you stay, the better,
Yeah.
The new generation, no. Meaning it's a huge gap. Before it was like, yes and no.
I thought it was a problem only here in Brazil, so.
No, it's globally, and then it's a serious one.
Yeah.
Because the value of the new generations are completely different of the values that I was raised.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know your age, but I'm not that young. Put it that way. But it's the values are changing a lot. The velocity, the having everything instant.
Yeah.
The growing like without going through, okay, you're going to be a manager, but first you need to understand and step, You
have to pass through the hard path.
Yes, patient doesn't exist anymore in that society of instant society. And that is affecting to that I'm repeating myself, is huge gap, generational gap, that it was never been that way before.
Really?
Absolutely, because I teach at university as well, and sometimes I'm like, oh my God. And I have a kid, 10-year-old, and then I'm like, oh, Jesus, it's gonna be a challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest challenge.
And another thing that it's changing a lot, how the big companies are planning themselves and conducting their activities, it's the AI. In your area, how big it is or it's not the AI impact?
Okay. We have been doing AI for many years.
Many years? How long?
No, well, you know Watson from IBM.
Yeah.
That's AI. The only thing you need to know what kind of AI you're talking about. Statistical models are AI. We've been doing statistical modeling for many years.
Of course.
Okay?
Yeah, AI, so basically AI didn't start with ChatGPT.
No. This is the velocity of AI and the open source democracy of that information.
Yeah.
It's the thing is now is the LLMs. That's the kind of AI.
The large language models.
It's a large language model. Meaning, first, I think everybody should know that AI, like innovation, was like many years ago, it was, hey, innovation, everybody innovation. What innovation are you talking about? Because you can innovate in different, but the same. First, people, I think that first needs to be somehow the governments or the companies that they are applying all those different AIs or large language models. They need to be. I think they need to educate to the society. First, what AI are we talking? Second, the impact in resources and in energy. I don't think everybody knows that anytime that you you ask to ChatGPT, you're burning a lot of energy, okay, with all those big data centers, okay? Meaning that is not conscious of what AI, the value of any kind of AI, plus the impact. That's the first thing. Second, yes, we use AI, but AI is tools. They can help you. You cannot use AI everywhere, and they have a lot of limitations, more than we think. Okay, really? Meaning the first is it's to be conscious of what AI can do and what AI cannot, and the cost versus the impact and the revenue. One thing that I can say, like last year, I was invited also at Davos to be in a panel, and the sense out there, it was like everybody in 2025, everybody was saying AI is going to solve the problems, AI, and the technocratas, because in Davos I'm more in the technocrata side, like looking all the leaderships talking about AI, and we were like, oof, that they're selling a lot, the expectations are huge, and then everybody thought about the learning curve of how adapting of those new tools and the impact. No. And I left Davos, I was like, fine, I don't know, it's something it's not matching, This year, it was a good surprise, and that the leaderships, they were saying, AI is not as easier as we thought of the implementation and the learning curve. They were aware. And this year that all the technocrats, we were super happy. It was like, they realized that, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
That it's more complex, and the learning curve and adaptation. And in big corporates, they have protocols, they have systems, way of working, and to change all that is huge. I think the small medium enterprise are ones that they're gonna see the benefits faster than the big corporates, because they're more agile on their process, and they need to go with less all the security, procurement, legal. They have a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be probably that they're gonna in the short term. In a long term, definitely big corporates will see the impact benefit. What we see right now, but it's not in my role, and it's far away of what I'm right now, at where I'm working now. It's in process, process, and make it more agile, faster, if you need to analyze data, and it helps you on developing like any kind of coding, basic, super basic, and more automatization. This is, we can see it that it is even my team, do I need to go and see all the reels? No. Do I need to synthesize and do the pattern recognition with? No. Can I interview more than 8 or 9 people and get the synthesis faster? Yes, and the quality is the same. I will say yes, because if you provide the proper prompts and those small, it will help. It works.
Is
it works.
AI effective in analyzing like the human part of the customer's behavior?
AI is helping. It's a tool. It's helping on the process, but cannot do 100% entire analysis. It's still the human part. It will in the future, probably, because if you have an agent, then modeling that agent. It will, the accuracy is quite good, but AI will not do the script.
Okay.
And AI, it can, but you need to provide what do you want, and what are you looking for, and what is the expectations and outcome of what you want to learn. And you give them instructions, they will do it. But the human of providing those instructions, as it is right now, still you need to have the human part, because AI is sequential. It will be.
It's logical, right?
But it will change, because the more that you're modeling those agents, it will change.
Okay.
But it will not substitute. It will help. It helps. It's a tool. It's a tool that helps you, before computers or before drawing, just we were drawing by hand, and then you have the computers. Yeah. It's not that it's substitute. You still have that creativity that maybe the AI will not provide it. It will be in the future. I don't know. I don't know.
And when this future begins, which will be the role of the human researchers?
You need to be able to orchestrate.
Okay.
You're going to be the conductor. You're going to be, somebody needs to orchestrate all that.
Okay. So basically, our role will be to, using this tool that can read human behavior, our main role will be make the right questions.
Not only the right questions, and conduct what kind of that data is going to be here, because when you conduct research, it's not one set of data.
Okay.
You need to combine different sets of data and then with different angles. It's not because you interview a amount of people you have the answers. No. You need to know heuristic analysis, you need to understand the trends, the geopolitical, how that it will affect, that probably there are a lot of different sets of data that you need to combine. And you need to be able to orchestrate all that.
Perfect.
Yeah. And that's why you're going to be a good researcher. It's not that it's going to be creating the script. AI will create the script for you, but you need to tell them what you want to learn, what are you looking to know, and what you're looking something that maybe you don't know with a little discovery. Also, you need to understand the kind of research. One thing is discovery, which it's more complex, and the other thing is validation. You go through sprints, you test it, you create a PO, an MVP, and minimal value, and then you test it, you learn, and you go. That AI will help a lot on that. All those iterations, that will help. But
Maybe
there's another that we also need to take into account is that agents that orchestrate the other agents.
Okay.
That's another thing that but it all depends the industry and what you want to achieve. It sounds a little bit crazy, but sometimes I feel like
no, it doesn't sound crazy at all. Like
it's handling a lot of things. Okay, this is my approach and my advice. listen, observe, and then act. You need to observe. I've always saying that just get the helicopter view, observe what everybody's doing, get the learnings, and be ready to pivot right away. And be ready to pivot, meaning be, frame ambiguity right away. Meaning, creative people, they have. I will be more like, from my background as a designer, we have more resilience, and then it's just okay. Let's pivot. Let's observe. Let's see. Okay, again. Let's try it. Boom, boom. You need to be frame the context and make sure that you're not gonna harm something, but it just observe, helicopter view. Well, now we'll say drone view. Just observe and see and act. It's what we like, this system thinking.
Of course.
And people right away. And be ready. If nothing happened, if you fail, it doesn't matter. Just try it again. That will be my advice, and I've been doing. And then if something is wrong, just do it again. That's why just start small, with a vision of a scalability, but don't start trying to cover everything, because if you fail, you're gonna fail from very high. You start small, try it, pivot again, small, try it, pivot again. And AI tools can help a lot on that, and that velocity.
Perfect.
Sorry, I'm just...
Perfect. My final question for you is, how does our audience find you in social media and consume your content? Because I found our conversation really helpful, really interesting. So would you like to give to our audience a final message?
Well, it just, I'm in LinkedIn. You can go and send me any message if you have any question. But I don't think I said something completely new. Meaning, it's just, what I will say is, observe, read, don't get conclusions right away. Be open to change. Don't block yourself, and just flexibility. It's just be open. Be open. Be listen, observe, read, and listen what people say. It doesn't need to be an expert, because maybe you have somebody talking specific on one topic that is expert on that matter. I'm reading a lot, and I'm reading a lot of LinkedIn, the posts of people.
Yeah. I'm
reading because you have different perspectives, different views. You have huge platforms, and yes, but start framing and pick up what you want to read, because we only have 24 hours a day, and you're gonna get nuts. And if you see something that it's not provide any value, next. But yes, you can in LinkedIn, happy to answer any question if it's something. Yeah, fine.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Elisabeth,
Thanks
for being here
with
us today. And guys, that's it for today. See you in the next Startup Life episode. Bye-bye.